Hello and welcome back to another video. Thanks for joining me. In today's video I'll be painting this little gardener mouse illustration, and I have a heavy heart about this thing. Maybe I'm being over dramatic, but I just think it went awry. Maybe you'll get to the end of this video and think, oh, you know, it turned out okay. But it's not exactly what I had in mind. I think that the problem is, or why I'm feeling so torn about this, is that I really liked the ink lines. I think that the inks were very nice and they were very delicate. And I don't think that the color completely complements them. And I just did that classic thing of when things are going wrong, you just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. And, well, you kind of lose track doing that as well. So my idea with this illustration was that this guy's like a kind of a little poppy farmer, comes upon a little bee sitting inside of a flower, which was an idea I got from a couple of photographs that I saw of little bees like that had fallen asleep inside of flowers, and I thought that was adorable. And yeah, I really liked the little concept and I thought it was cute, and I also had the intention of gifting the original when it was done. So that's part of my problem, that because it's not the way I hoped it would be, the original is also not as nice as I thought it would be. Now, I can always tweak this digitally, and that's like both a blessing and a curse, because you always have that thought in the back of your mind that, well, if I don't get this right now, there's always Photoshop. And yeah, I'm thankful for those tools because they really allow for you to kind of keep playing and maybe do color adjustments and maybe even change up an entire color situation that you have. But I do, well, I guess I'm just starting to realize that I'd like to have originals that are also nice pieces. I think it's because I always draw things with the intention of making them for print. I always think like, oh, well, I can fix it later, or I can do that later, and I don't have that much value for the original, although I do keep all of mine. I feel like I kind of think of it as the first step towards a process, and that the digital one will kind of fix anything else that I need fixing. And I kind of want to get out of that habit. I want to have original pieces that I'm happy with, that I can like frame and give to people. And yeah, and I guess what I've learned from this bit of failing is that I need to plan my color palette better. I thought I had like prepared swatches and I had a rough idea of what I wanted, but I hadn't planned it out completely, and so I ended up just kind of wavering, and then in a panic just laying more and more paint on the paper. So there's an artist here on YouTube named Chris. I will have to find her YouTube channel and I'll put it in the description below. And she does these elaborate planning stages for all of her illustrations, and does all these color compositions, and really plots out what she's going to do before she gets going. And it seems like fun. And I think I should start to do that. I think that I've had this like kind of hang up that it would take the fun out of the painting process if you had everything already set out. But the thing is, you still have to paint it, right? And it just takes guesswork out, and then it frees you up to experiment within the constraints that you've laid out for yourself. And actually, I don't know, constraints get a bad rap, you know? I think that constraints can actually free you in a certain way when you have parameters to work within. As far as painting goes, I don't think I really have such a big grasp. Like, I know colors well, but I don't think I know how to plan them together necessarily in the way that would make me more pleased with my outcomes. So I think that I need to get that guesswork out of the way and plan my colors before I start, so that during execution that I'm not feeling so lost, and that I can probably produce better work that way at the end of the day. I'm much better with line. Ink is the first medium that I used, and so I'm very comfortable and, I guess in a way, a bit more confident with what I'm doing when I'm doing that. And I spent so much care in the drawing and inking process, and then when it came to the painting, I just kind of jumped right in, and that was a mistake. So I think I need to spend as much time as I do preparing the drawing and preparing the color. Now, I'm not going to blame the weather for my failing. I'm aware of my shortcomings, but I do find it difficult to paint in the winter time. The light shifts a lot, and it's kind of like if you don't have a sunny day, you're working with like a smaller spectrum of light in a way. And sometimes I feel like it pushes me darker because like the light is so high contrast that I in turn make my things high contrast, and that might have been part of the reason why I'm not so happy with this. It's not necessarily what I find pleasing. Everything's going okay, and then I hit a point where I add too much blue to the character, and I panic. And then I'm just like, oh no. And instead of stopping and waiting and letting the paint dry, or maybe lifting the paint, I just panic and I start like mixing color and adding it and not thinking clearly. So I wish I would have just stopped at some point, stepped away for a minute, and come back to it. But I was recording, and the sun was not gonna stay out for very much longer, so, you know, all of these factors kind of added to my unease. I showed the piece to my husband, and he seemed to like it. It's not that it's bad, it's just not what I wanted. So I might go at it again. I might do some digital tweaking, but I learned a rough lesson with this one, which is playing your color. Maybe it's something I won't have to do forever. Like once I get better at it, I'll kind of just know what I'm doing. But I think that if I really want to get better and also want to be faster, this would be a good thing to do. If you're doing this kind of line art with color, you know, the line and the color should complement each other. They should work together harmoniously. And I don't exactly feel that my result does. And perhaps it's just that I want the lines to be more visible than they are in the end. And the intensity or the darkness of the color kind of hides them in a way that I didn't really want. But failed pieces are also a painful learning process, you know, and I was just reminded that I need to take steps and don't jump to the end, you know, especially when you're almost there. In a way, the actual like painting is just going through the motions, if you know what you're doing. So having the color is really the most crucial part of it, just knowing what you're going to use, because for the most part I think I know how to lay the color down, and I should really just plan on getting the color right before I start. And after doing this piece, I realized that it pained me so much because I actually wanted the original to be nice, and I wanted the original to look the way I wanted it to look in the end, which is maybe not something I'm always in the habit of doing. And I luckily scanned the line art, so I have a copy of it, and I can give it multiple different tries. But it really made me realize that I want to start having more presentable original pieces, not only just for possible, you know, selling, if anybody would want them, but you know, to give as gifts to people. And I just think that if I'm capable of actually doing it in this one shot, then I'll also just shorten the process of making a piece. And being faster is actually very beneficial. You get more done. So that's what I plan to do with future pieces. Really spend a good amount of time planning my color. It's obviously a weak point, and I want to be happy at the end of it and not disappointed in myself. And it's not that I'm holding myself up to some crazy standard. I have a reasonable head on my shoulders, and I'm aware of my level of ability and my current limitations, but I also know what I'm capable of, and I could have done better. And I was so happy with the inks, and I regret not spending as much time planning my color as I did planning my drawing. So I hope you enjoyed my process and my ramblings, and I hope you found it amusing or interesting or informative, and let me know what you think about the piece. And I think I might have a follow-up video to this one where I do some alternates. So I'm going to take some time to plan that out, but yeah, I think that'd be a fun idea. Anyhow, thanks for dropping in, guys. Thanks for spending some time here. I hope you'll join me at the next video, and until then, have fun painting. Bye.